Honorable CS, Ministry of Labour and Social Protection, Honorable CAS, State Department for Labour, Jackson Carl, ES, State Department for Labour, Engineer 2, colleagues from DOSH, representatives from various media houses and workplaces. Good afternoon. Today is a momentous day because we mark, today is the 28th of April, and this day is marked worldwide as the World Day for Safety and Health. And this day is a day of reflection. I am hesitant to say it's a day of celebration. It's a day of reflection on the workers who may have suffered injury or died as a result of their work. And we are lucky that we do have leadership in our ministry that actually recognizes that this is a key issue in the labor movement and in creating industrial harmony in the workplace and in improving productivity. This year and last year are momentous years because we are aware that the COVID-19 crisis has been a worldwide problem, a massive effect on our workplaces, and it has heralded a new normal. But the new normal has actually trusted occupational safety and health right at the center of the workplace. And whereas we have known that the investment in occupational safety and health in our workplaces has been what the virus has done is that it has really shown the soft underpinnings of the investment in OSH. And it's a time when we thought it required to have a commitment and a review for us to have clear thoughts, both from workplaces, from workers, and as government, to be able to build more resilient systems in OSH. And the OSH Awards form one such a mechanism in which we recognize the high-performing workplaces in terms of OSH and encourage those that have not embraced it well. It is my pleasure to invite our PS, Engineer Peter too. He is passionate. He's an engineer. I don't need to say anything more about safety and health other than saying he's an engineer. He's a huge advocate for safety and health as well as the harmony in the workplace. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. for that introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Waziri, for allowing us to have this meeting today. And for me, in the interest of time, I'll just speak to three things. One is that in an enterprise, when we speak about occupational safety and health, we are looking at three aspects. The first one is the aspect in which the worker comes in. And that worker that works in an enterprise, of course, has a family. We also speak about the owner or the owners of the enterprise, whose requirement is for them to make money, right? To make a profit. And then we have the government itself, who will depend on that enterprise to get taxes. So when we talk about OSH, we are looking at those three key elements. So in the interest of the worker is to ensure that there is safety in that. Because when I'm safe and I'm working in an enterprise, I'm assured that there is longevity in my work. Number two is that my family is also, because I'm the breadwinner, my family is able to be fed. So it is very, very important that that enterprise is safe. The environment is safe. And then for the owner or the owners of the enterprise, for them to maximize on profits, they should be able to make sure that the place is safe so that they don't give payouts for accidents. Right. So it is in the interest of the owner of the workplace that that place is safe. And then for us in the government, we are interested in the sense that when the enterprises are flourishing, the workers are happy, trade disputes are not there, and at the end of the day, we receive that tax that we so much need. So that vibrancy is assured by having this department called OSH, whose responsibility is to ensure that, yes, they check to see whether the enterprise is safe and all that. So, Waziri, for you to have been able to recognize this department and personally sit to preside over this function shows how the ministry has put in place systems to ensure that the workplaces are taken care of. And thank you for the support you always given that department. We all have few challenges, but since you're coming into the ministry, we've tried our best and we are putting in place policies that are speaking to ensuring that this department does its job. Remember, we have requested for employment of around 70 personnel whom at the moment are being employed by the government, who will be posted for purposes of ensuring that safety and health concerns in workplaces are propagated, and that the workplaces are sensitized on how to undertake the safety issues in their workplaces. I don't want to take a lot of time because today is your day. Let me just take this opportunity to welcome our CAS, Bwana John Carl, so that he can also be able to give us a remark and then invite you to speak to this group. Thank you.
Thank you, PS, CS, PS, and everyone. Afternoon. The PS keeps on baptizing me. He has just baptized me, John. I'm Jackson.
You look like John.
So mine will be very few remarks because sometimes there is this unfortunate bit when we are speaking among the last people that all the major issues are normally addressed by the first speakers. So you have nothing to add unless you don't want to repeat to be repetitive. Just to recognize the importance of the day, and this is actually signified by the demonstrated by the fact that the government is here, the CS is in attendance, companies like Safaricom, railways are represented here, and even the media fraternity is with us. So it shows that recognition by everyone that it is in the interest of all stakeholders, right from the government to enterprises, the owners of enterprises, to ensure safety in the workplace. So this now guarantees that one is to put in place proper measures of safety of workers in the workplace. Of course, productivity increases. So if you're making profits, your interest is to make profits, and if you want to maximize profits, ensure that your workers are safe. For the government, of course, when enterprises are thriving, then of course there is also the economy grows. For the worker, when the enterprise and the employer takes good care of you and the safety in the workplace, of course your health and well-being is guaranteed, and of course that's a benefit to you. So that means that it's a symbiotic relationship where everybody benefits. So this important aspect of safety cannot be overemphasized in workplace. It is a must that we all work towards ensuring safe workplaces. With those few remarks, kindly allow me to invite our CS, Honorable Simon Chilingui, to make his remarks. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Jackson Kala, the Chief Administrative Secretary, Ministry of Labor and Social Protection, our Principal Secretary, Department of Labor, Engineer Peter Tum, Dr. Musa Nyandusi, the Secretary, Department of Occupational Safety and Health, invited guests, ministry staff, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
First and foremost is to welcome all of you to the Ministry of Labor and Social Protection. We acknowledge we are partners in this journey of safety and health. And as a ministry with the mandate of occupational safety and health, I take this opportunity first and foremost to welcome you. So it gives me great pleasure to welcome you to this function as we celebrate organizations that have shown interest in matters of occupational safety and health. Unlike other years, this year we are not able to hold a national competition to award winners in various sectors. However, we recognize and appreciate all those who showed interest to participate in this competition. COVID-19, and I think has been Dr. Miruga's heavily informed us and advised us, it had a deep and devastating impact on workers, employers, and the society. This impact has extended beyond catching the virus. There are observed increased workplaces stress and violence, which are occupational safety concerns. I think in the last 1 month, I've seen police officers shooting their own family members. I've seen husband and wife kill themselves. They work variously, they meet at home, and instead of resolving their domestic issues, they push it to another level. These are all exemplifies the stress we are going through. And it's happening in our offices, it's happening in our homes, it's happening in our community. These are stresses caused by COVID. We have also seen shifts to new forms of working arrangements, such as widespread reliance on teleworking. We have, for example, has presented many opportunities for workers, but also posed potential occupational safety and health risks, including psychosocial risks and violence in particular. The new risks have arisen as a result of measures taken to control the pandemic, such as impaired mental health at work and violence, discrimination, and many others. Today, we are marking the World Day for Safety and Health at Workplaces. This year, World Day for Safety and Health at Work 2021 focuses on leveraging the elements of OSH system as set out in Promotional Framework for Occupational Safety and Health Convention 2006, number 187. So this year, the ministry aligned all our activities to this convention. In particular, our policy intervention include 1, signing of MOU, which required all workplaces to give reports on all persons affected by COVID, taking care of family member, relatives, or quarantine to be submitted to the ministry, disaggregated by age, gender, migration status. This was the first item on our MOU, which we signed with employers represented by their Federation of Kenya Employers and the Federation of Kenya Workers, KOTU. We signed this MOU last year, April 25th of April 2020. And I really wish to I continue to thank both the workers and employers, because we saw this as a challenge to all of us, the tripartite team, the government, the employers and employees, that this pandemic is a threat, not just to government, but to workers and industry leaders. So I thank you for coming to this room, this table, negotiating with government, agreeing on an understanding between all the three parties on how we are going to deal and manage and attack this pandemic. And since that time, we've never seen civil industrial disputes. We have never seen go-slows. We have minimized job losses, and companies have continued to open and operate we suspended the CBA, which is sometimes very painful, but we had to sacrifice because it would have meant all of us losing jobs and companies closing business. Would have been more serious impact. So I thank you for this. And therefore, this MOU provided cushioning mechanisms for protecting workers and from the pandemic and to ensure harmonious labor relations. This included tripartite systems to allow work from home, job rotation as new norms fell in place. The other item, number 2, the policy interventions that we did during this period was we upped our information provision. The information about COVID shared with workplaces on the best practices to control the transmission everywhere. And we tasked the directed DOSH to up their game in transmitting this information and advisories. The advisory is based on the best practice and the best available scientific information on the behavior of the virus and how workers can keep safe of both at their workplaces while working and also those working from home. You've seen what has happened across our borders. There are countries who have not acknowledged this pandemic and they are suffering. They have really lost serious leaders, top leadership, either in the public service, private service, in the security team, in the security forces, all levels, they have really been affected because of not positively recognizing that we have a problem and we have to deal with it. So I thank champions like Dr. Miruka and the rest of us, that all of us in this room today begin to be champions of occupational safety and health at workplace. People should not take it for granted. What he tells us, the new threats, the friend, the relative, and the worker, the colleague. We have seen people when they sit as colleagues, they remove masks, relax, and let everything free. That is where the problem is. That is where super spreading happens. Somebody was seated in this desk 2 days, 3 days ago. He told us, I have 4 wives. They have all got COVID. Personally, I have not had COVID. He said, I have drivers, I have bodyguards, I have security people, drivers have got COVID, bodyguards have got COVID, his cooks have got COVID. So what he does every week, he checks, he tests everybody. He calls this lab, Lancet, to his house. So he tests, everybody's tested. They are all, most of the time, 3 or 4 or 5 are infected and they are not aware, but he has never got it. So I was asking myself, could he be the super spreader? Yeah, because everybody else has got it, and yeah. So these things, let's not lower the guard. Let's not lower the guard. Let's protect ourselves. Always take the advice what we have just been told by Mruga. So today's event marks our commitment to continually recognize significant efforts in mitigating occupational safety and health, the risk especially in combating COVID-19 transmission at workplaces. It is so expensive. Majority of you in this room, when I look across, I experience people. You could have 10 years, 15 years, even 20 years work experience. Very efficient, very knowledge that you cannot get from school, knowledge that you cannot get from a training college, because you've earned this experience over time. It will be very expensive for an organization to lose an officer like any one of us in this room because of COVID. To replace that experience, to replace that knowledge, to replace that resource. And in this ministry, we take labor as a big factor of production. Actually, factor number 1 in production, followed by money, another capital expenditure, another capital resources. The where I was before, we used to talk of M's: material, manpower, we talk of money. These are drivers of what we did in the sector of work. It is the same thing. All these things, machinery and the activities that we do, and money cannot organize themselves without the manpower. So even if you had billions of money, even if our economy was thriving and our workforce, the manpower, whether it's Safaricom, who are doing very well, railways, Hadia, the ultravites, the Ravadia, the Kipia, and all these organizations. Without the manpower, you could not have any name called, you did not have an organization called Safaricom, Railway, Kenya Airways, KC Banks, all these successful stories. It's because of the manpower behind these institutions. So we must care, we must protect, we must ensure that this manpower is always safe and secure, and you'll get your other things. So some people have mistaken us, the Ministry of Labor, particularly Department of DOSH, Department of Occupational Safety and Health, that maybe they are an irritant, maybe it's an additional, maybe it's an harassment, maybe it's overindulging, but we are just looking at the welfare and safety of your. Imagine an organization producing hazardous chemicals. You are silently and slowly killing that, starting from the director down to the workers. So if you are in a paint factory, you have no masks, they are not given, there is no oxygenation or airflow in that institute. What are you saying? You are actually killing those people. If you are in an airline and people working there are not, we've seen airline carry bodies to Amsterdam. How did they get into that apron? How did they enter into the belly of the plane? How did the plane take off without knowledge? And now you find somebody is in Amsterdam. How did it happen? When you talk of rail, of seeing sometimes our trucks, maybe because of not checking, or even the truck itself, because of lack of maintenance, it derails along the way. And you can imagine a railway derailing. There was one case, was it in Kambani, where we lost so many people, about 20 years ago. It all speaks to safety. What happens to a lift which has not been maintained? It's getting stuck in a building, 18 floors, 20 floors, and it falls. How many lives are we risking in that place? When a company, as reputable company, fails to provide safety measures, like what Dr. Miruka said, just washing hands, sanitizing, and one case can really affect the whole institution. We have organization with 6,000 people. These people interact continuously. Much as they practice the protocols, they still interact somehow. They share computers, they share phone numbers, they share pens, they share mics, they share files. If one of them is affected, that file will spread the virus across the whole institution because of being careless. So when we go to meat processing plant, what is the impact of a poisonous meat packaged well in a tin because somebody did not carry out inspection? What happens to milk produced by KCC, Brookside, Githunguri, which because of improper production procedures, you package 1 million packets every day. They are sent to Kenyans, and you can see the impact, what it means to the country, the safety, the risks we are posing. Or even a treatment plant, water treatment plant, where all of us take water. What is the impact of that? So when we see DOSH, the Department of Occupational Safety, it means the assurance, the confidence. It gives you the seal. It audits your organization. It affirms your procedures. It affirms your establishment. It affirms your workplace that you are practicing, you are operating in an environment that is conducive for business, for profit making, and for even the good and welfare of the workers. That is what it means. So as we celebrate today, I'm aware that this is normally rigorous process spanning several months, starting with advertising, calling for participation, developing high-quality professional audit tools, adjudication by highly trained safety and health experts from DOSH who examine all aspects of risk and control in the money. So I want to call on all of us, the employers who are here today, that we are about 80,000 enterprises in this country, companies and businesses, 80,000 registered businesses in this country. It is our hope that we may not inspect all of you, but let these few who have come to this room today be examples and inspire the rest of the country, the rest of the enterprises in ensuring they meet the bare minimum occupational safety and health. That is our prayer as a ministry. So what we are doing today is to celebrate those who have come out and proven that they are ready, willing to be checked, to be audited, to be assessed and certified. This certificate, we are pushing it higher. In future, a part of your operational licensing, a requirement will come. If you are doing business, and we're thinking of cases like 10 million and above, you are able to produce. We are being asked to, when you're doing tenders and projects and contracts of 10 million or 5 million, you're expected to give tax compliance. You're expected to give PIN registration certificates and all these requirements, including financial ability. We think that this occupational safety certificate is very important. And I remember some financial institutions, some of the donors in our projects that fund roads projects, water projects, sanitation projects, energy projects, transport, airports, dams. They are always sensitive to this. I remember when I was in water, one big project that is going to impact in Kenyan city water supply, bringing about 140 million liters, was closed for 7 months because the company was tunneling somewhere in Murang'a, and after audit was done, they found the level of oxygen in the tunnel was not enough to support the fellows who are working there in the tunnel. And the bank, World Bank, they just wrote a letter to me and told me, suspend the contractor, suspend the works until this is correct. It cost those fellows 45 million to bring in additional equipment to ensure the level of oxygen inside the tunnel is adequate for business, for production, for operations. That is how serious it is across by the donors and across the other jurisdictions. In Europe, consumers are so sensitive to organizations who are not. If I was going with railway, madam, those guys, the two people from railway, if I'm using railway or I'm using an airline and there is a safety issue, people will come to the they will use the railway system because they are assured of safety. They are assured of their safety is number one. So you could lose business, you could lose customers because of not observing very basic things. In Europe, you saw what happened to Kakuzi. Their macadamias were turned away in UK because of some reported sexual and harassment that was happening in the estate. And consumers started saying, no, we are getting information that this farm is not observing occupational safety. And they lost business. It's now they have spent so much money to compensate. So as organizations, are you ready to pay, compensate? The other day we were talking with Dr. Nyanduzi, there's a case I referred to him. Out because of a safety issue in a vehicle, one organization lost a staff along at the river through a road accident. Maybe the car was faulty or carelessness, or I don't know what happened. This organization was ordered to pay 2.8 million. Are you ready to pay 2.8 million for every case? How much can you pay if 10 people are affected? That's 28 million. Do you have that profit? Are you ready to pay 28 million for a simple activity that will assure you safety of your money, safety of your officers, and safety of your organization? So it becomes so expensive if you don't comply and follow this. So as I conclude, I therefore wish to congratulate. We would have had this. I think we had a discussion with the PS and CAS and Dr. Nyanduzi. This could have been, we had gotten some sponsors. And we wanted to blow up this event to a national level so that we are able to speak even to a fellow in Omabay who is running a small fishing business. We are able to speak to somebody in Lamu who could be running some motorboat business across, and speak to somebody in Turkana who would also be working in the lake there or having a small cottage restaurant in Turkana. That is what we wanted to do. But because of the challenges we have, we agreed to push it further and do it in this manner so that we still achieve what we are supposed to achieve, because this is a day which is celebrated worldwide, and we have also to celebrate as our team. So with those many remarks, Honorable CS, PS, and Dr. Nyandusi, I think I want to congratulate all of you who may have satisfied the examiners, as it is said, as it is said in every ceremony. And we want you to go and display prominently that certificate so that even your workers can see we are compliant. And even in the factory, if you are in a factory or a workshop, or prominently, so that the workers can also feel they are safe. So thank you very much, everyone, and God bless.
Yes, another 300 clubs. I grew up in the Nyayo era. So and as CS, it's now my pleasure to request for us to go to the most important and the heart of the session, certificates. And first of all, before we go there, I want to say that the World Day for Safety and Health was declared by the ILO conference in 2003. And there are two main reasons what was supposed to be done on the World Day for Safety. The first one is to raise awareness about occupational safety. CS has done that. The second one is to commemorate those who have died in the course of employment. So sad, when a CS, in the Health and Safety Month, we have lost 2 people. Maurice Ongonyo died somewhere in Western. Enoch Ombasa also died in a construction site. In that site, about 31 people also got killed. I want to request your permission to observe a 1-minute silence in honor of these people and all the people that have died in the course of employment. Thank you very much. So at the heart of this is, I would like to just invite the certificate recipient. The first one, not in any order, because they were not ranked. We had 16 applicants. What you have before you, CS, are 8. And these were the ones that were able to come to Nairobi to receive their certificates personally from you. And I thank you for the time that you have devoted to this. And quickly, I will mention the first certificate owner to be British American Tobacco. Thank you very much. You can give them a proper The second,
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you very much. Yes. The second one is OML Africa Logistics Limited.
presented by David Ongesa.
So that the camera can Yes, congratulations, congratulations. I can take this now. Well done, well done. Thank you. That too, yeah?
The third,
Okay.
thank you very much. Number 3 is ultraviolet. Presented here by Africa.
Congratulations, Frida.
Yes. The fourth one is mission for essential drugs and supplies. Mission for Senate by Nelson.
Son Mandela.
Thank you, Nelson. Thank you, Nelson. Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Pleasure. Congratulations.
Yes. The number 5 is Kenya Railways. Kenya Railways, represented by Mr. Nyama and Madam Jari.
Congratulations. Well done. You have to, huh?
Yes.
So, well done. We have another simple workshops.
Thank you very much. We will come back to see. But yes, we have our last category of sponsors. As I had mentioned earlier on, Media Africa is supporting this streaming live on YouTube. And they are here with the equipment, and I would like to invite Dr. Nadu to receive certificate from Media Africa Limited. Thank you very much.
Well done. Well done. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And
Yeah, thank you.
I think we also received some support from Safaricom. I think we're also recognizing and appreciating that kind of support that we received from Safaricom. And it's represented here by Flavia.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And that is the last certificate.
Thank you.
I may now hand over to Dr. Nyandusi.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Andrew. I would really wish to thank our leadership. I keep telling our officers that we are lucky, and I wish we could have a gazettement of honorary safety and health officers in our leadership. Because to be honest, we have received immense support from the office, the CS, the office class, and a lot of support from the office of the PS. And we sincerely like to thank you. We have big dreams in mainstreaming the OSH in the workplace. And as you may know, OSH is a shared responsibility. It's tempting to think that my employer is responsible for my safety, but I think we have to appreciate that OSH is a shared responsibility, the responsibility of the employer and the responsibility of the employee. And as government, we are there to try and keep the harmony in terms of not just OSH, but the other matters of the labor aspect as well. I would like to thank the team led by Dr. Muruka. He's in the national head for the organization for the World Health Safety, and as well as the committee headed by Mr. Teuri. I know they have burnt the midnight oil. They had big plans, sir. They really had big plans. And I'm glad with the enterprises like Safaricom, who really stepped up and had offered to go to have this done in a big way. This is still not lost to us, maybe. I think we've seen it is not lost to us. We've seen the World Health Assembly and the ILO Assembly actually being done online. It has a large financial outlay still in terms of being able to deliver it, but we are able to deliver it in the way and in the capacity and the scale that would still be able to be delivered. And I'm hoping that with the workplaces represented here, we are going to be the first drop that extends the ripple effect on the safety and health sphere across the workplace, so that we begin embracing safety and health, not just as a workplace issue, but as a lifestyle issue. So I would really like to thank everybody who participated, my colleagues, the media. We don't take things that are done by the State Department to be able to mitigate on the workplace, as we have an honest, engaging conversation on falling forward. It's our country, and we really have to find a way to move forward. Even when we are having these challenges, we have to find it. And we appreciate the enterprises that have really put in place the mechanism to take care of their workers, even in the midst of this pandemic. Make a massive investment in it and protect your worker and keep the businesses going. I would like to thank you very much and encourage us to keep safe and to see one another on the other side of this wave. You know, my favorite passage in the Bible is that, and it came to pass. So even the darkest night comes to pass. But for us, we have the tools and the information that are supposed to make us see the other side of this dark night. Embrace this and be able to achieve this. That's the most certainly for the participation and the continued.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.